Hi everyone, welcome back to Nature's BS for episode 10. We're at double digits now.
Ten!
We're
10!
veterans. It has gone so quickly. But yes, hope everyone's had a lovely week. So you got Pookie in the chat. It's been a mixed week weather-wise. Some rain, some sun, quite mixed. How's it been with you, Anu, after your break away?
I've been away for 2 weeks, 2 whole weeks. It started off gorgeous sunshine, and then I got to Scotland, and it rained.
Enough said.
It rained. Yeah, that's fine, you know. I don't mind going out in the wet. But same to be when I got home as well. To be fair, it's been mixed. Is probably the best way. Hey Thistle.
Hi.
Yeah, it's been mixed. I think it's like that this time of the year, though, isn't it? It's not supposed to be a solid sunshine or all rain. It's supposed to be mixed. But the problem is we've had so much rain in the UK. So much rain, in fact, that I had to drain a pot today that had a tree in it in my front garden. Because I was out doing a bit of gardening in the front, and I was like, oh, I really need to feed that tree. And then I looked down at the pot, and I kid you not, it was filled with water.
My good, it has rained a huge amount, and it's been like really dry for a week or so. Everything's like parched and then just impermeable, and then it just rains and floods. So quite a few rain warnings for flooding in Wales in the last few weeks, but I don't think it's been that bad as far as I'm aware.
Oh, Thistle went to the Yorkshire Dales, which is a beautiful part of the country, and it rained on all 4 days, which is not nice. You don't want to rain all 4 days when you're in the Yorkshire Dales.
No, hopefully you managed to enjoy it in the rain though.
Yeah, it's a beautiful part of the country. I was in Yorkshire for the first couple of days of my holiday, so more on that shortly. Very exciting. It was very cool. It was all good. But yeah, so I had to lift this pot up, lean it over to drain the top water off, and then the holes in the bottom, there wasn't enough of them, so I've had to get a drill and drill holes in the bottom. And literally water was pouring out of it for about 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, there was so much water in it. It was saturated. And you could look at the tree and you could tell that it wasn't liking it. It was just waterlogged. So I've had to do that. So hopefully it'll be okay. It should be fine now. I've drilled more holes into it. I have lifted it off the ground. So it will, fingers crossed, I'll go out in a couple of days and have a look at it, make sure it's okay. But it means I don't have to water it for a while, so...
It's like, please no more water.
Yeah, I've had enough.
For a few weeks.
I'm full. Have the last couple of weeks been for you?
They've been good. Yeah, time is just going so quickly, it's all blurring together. I don't really know what's... Like, yes, what happened yesterday? That happened, and then before it's like, what days were what? Been good, very busy. I think, but yeah, lots of wildlife.
Good.
It's been fun. Lots of fun to talk about.
Yeah, I had 9 days of wildlife watching. So if I'd managed to edit everything and get everything uploaded, I'd probably have close to about 50 images and videos.
So you're sorted for the next 5 weeks then?
So I've kind of cut it down to the first 2 days. That's it. That's literally how much I managed to see. So yeah, which we will cover shortly. But yeah, it's been cool. Have you done any more bird surveys or anything? Or surveys full stop?
Bird surveys. I had Dragonfly and Damselfly survey and ID training.
Ooh, that's cool.
Friday, which is exciting. So since then I've been saying, I know what that one is, I know what that one is. Because I had very basic, so like, oh, that's like a blue damselfly or blue tail, or like I know a few of the obvious chases, like 4-spotted chaser, broad-bodied chaser, that kind of thing. But the rest of damselflies, dragonflies, I was like, I could tell the difference between damsel and dragon, but that was about it. So that was really fun actually, because it is very daunting if you just like buy a book or like an ID guide, and there's all these different tails and bodies all put
Yeah.
together. Like, how on earth am I going to tell the difference? But it's actually quite. Once you break it down like into different types, it's actually quite easy. Just if you can have like a camera or a pair of binoculars to get a good look at them, then it's actually quite easy.
Yeah, that's what I find about insects, especially ones that move as quickly as damselflies and dragonflies do. Is it's getting that picture is kind of vital, unless you know
Yeah.
exactly what you're looking for, and you can see it with your naked eye or with a pair of binoculars before it's moved on. It's yeah, or get close enough to be fair. But there we go.
Yeah, no, it's hard. Yeah, so I've been more and more appreciative of plant ID because, like, oh yes, I can sit down, get my book out, have a nice look through, and like, thank you for just sitting and waiting for me. But yes, a lot of fun.
Yeah, Piggy said very mixed weather here as well. Pictures on
Yeah.
Discord mean that it was good weather and health day. The fact that you saw a marsh warbler, Pookie, if you haven't seen that yet on Discord, I highly recommend. There's a picture and there's a video. Oh my words.
That's just one of Cookie's
Dravi Zero
daily
followed.
wildlife.
Thank you so much for the follow, Dravi.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was just honestly, it's just amazing, absolutely amazing. That the and the chicks from the woodpecker's nest, middle and great spot as well. Ooh. Because you have to give us an update on the black woodpeckers too, because I haven't heard anything about them for a couple of weeks. So I'd like an update on them, please.
And thank you for, especially Pookie and everyone else who's been putting their moth photos in our moth folder.
Next
It is
next
it's a
week.
good collection,
It's
yes.
great, yeah.
Not long left. But
Next
hopefully
week is our
it's
moth
good.
off. Its twin bird was there as well, the common reed warbler. I do love a reed warbler. The question I've got for you, Pookie, have you ever seen a great reed warbler? I have, by pure luck. but uh,
Still,
but yeah, moth off next week. I haven't even started
Exactly.
yet.
Still
You've got
time.
every week you show images of moths, so you've got a huge amount of moths to show
Yeah.
off, and then there's me, who hasn't seen one. Well, I've seen loads, I just haven't taken pictures of any of them.
Yeah. You need to make like moth collage or something like that.
Ooh, Pookie thinks the black woodpeckers are gone. So is that a good sign then that they've actually fledged, or do you think something's happened to them, Pookie? I think they've probably fledged because when we last saw them, they were looking quite grown. Yeah, fledged. Awesome. Well, that's great news. It's just a shame that you can't see them anymore.
They're off living in the wild. Also, exciting things that Spring Watch has started this week. If anyone's been watching,
I have. I've watched
I'm
both
very
episodes.
excited. I've seen all of Monday's and half of yesterday's.
Yeah, I watched both. I was supposed to be on a nightjar survey yesterday, but it got cancelled due to the weather. It rained all day here in Nottinghamshire, and it was supposed to start at 9:15. We were supposed to be meeting. The decision was made about 3:30 to cancel, and at 4 o'clock the sun came out.
But was it drying?
It would have been
8:45?
fine underfoot. It would have been fine underfoot because it's a we're not, unlike the other surveys I've been doing this year. You're not having to go through the undergrowth or through the moorland itself. You're on paths all the time, especially since it's dark, which is very sensible. It would have been fine, but the problem is it's about making sure that the entire area is covered at the same time. If you're low on numbers, then that makes it very challenging because we've got 4 areas that we've got to look at, and that means we need 4 people who know how to do the mapping, which I am now one. Woohoo! I've been trained this year, which is great. But if you're missing one, then you can't really do it. So I think we only had 3 people to do it. So it's probably a good idea to cancel and then move it to later in the week, which is Friday now. So there we go.
Right. Hopefully that goes ahead.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. That'd be good. That'd be good. Cool. Anyway, shall we move on to our wildlife encounters.
Yes.
Because I know we have many to show. Many.
Not my Nick times many, but general many.
It was a good number you had this week, though.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm limiting myself. I'm still
After
still
the
going.
23 of 1 week.
Yeah, I feel so bad.
And to be fair, mate, you're just making me jealous. It's because you get to go out so often and do all these things all the time, and you get to see so much great stuff and basically immerse
Yeah.
yourself. Whereas I get stuck in a cafe for 4 days out the week.
No,
So,
I do. I'm very lucky, so I'm making the most of it and appreciating it.
but there we go. Who shall go first? Shall I go first or shall you go first?
You go first. I want to hear about all your
Okay.
trips and excitement.
So, yes. So, as you are aware, I went away on holiday for a week, which is why I was not here last week. And Thistle was fantastic and produced for us. And
Thank you again.
but I was in chat. I was watching
We did see you.
with my eagle eyes, listening away while I sat in my parents' living room. And I can't remember what was on the telly. It'd been some crime
Wasn't
drama
us.
of some form, because that's what my mum likes to watch. Anyway, so a week ago Saturday, it'll be Saturday the 18th of May, we headed off to Bempton Cliffs. Okay, now I didn't go to Bempton Cliffs on the Saturday, I went to Bempton Cliffs on the Sunday, so that'll be coming in a minute. But we stopped off on the way to Bempton at a little nature reserve just outside Doncaster and the M18. I can't remember what it was called. I must remember this. I will look it up shortly. Just because nice walk around. We've got plenty of time to get to Bempton. I fancy some lunch. Had a lovely cafe. Let's go and do that. So as part of the I think it's Yorkshire Wildlife Trust. We went in and there was a lovely person at the front door who told us all about the reserve and said, "What are you here to see?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. Depends what you've got." He says, "Well, if you go to this height, you might see a kingfisher. They've been showing really well there today." And I was like, "All
Oh
right then."
wow!
So off we wandered, and the obligatory Andy pick of a kingfisher.
Yay! Oh, I've missed them.
You get an Andy pick of a kingfisher. This is the only Andy pick.
Oh, I can see it though.
You can
It
see it,
says.
yeah? That tiny little orange and blue dot in the middle of it.
If it wasn't orange, I wouldn't be able to see it.
That is full magnification on my camera. It shows how
Well
far away it
spotted.
was.
That's impressive to see it from that far.
Just to the left of it, in the mud bank there, is its burrow.
Oh wow!
So I was watching the pair going in and out of the burrow for about an hour.
That's really cool.
It was amazing. So I
No, I
will
love watching breeding birds.
yeah,
It's
most
really cool.
definitely going back. So Pookie, it's not as good a picture as yours. Showing it really well means something different in Yorkshire then. Hey, Burger
It's just
Chris.
far away. That's it.
Yeah, so I will definitely be going back there, and let's see if I can figure out what it was called.
That's lovely that you're able to see the nest site. So
Doncaster.
a lot of it you see the individuals, but then the nest itself was hidden away somewhere, or we're not even on the reserve itself. It's nice to actually be able to see like the natural behaviour going in and out of the nest. It's really nice.
Potterick Carr Nature Reserve. Potterick Carr. I'll write that in the Potterer.
Cookie says mine are about 10 to 12 meters away. Wow. That's great. I've only seen a kingfisher, just an individual, about 10 meters away. But I haven't seen a nest at all.
Yeah, I was surprised to see the nest. So we got. So what happened was we got to the hide, and I opened the door, and there was a couple in there already, and another two guys who'd gone in as well, who were a couple of friends who'd gone in just before us. And as I walked in, I literally saw it fly from its burrow straight across the window, and it landed on a perch, a post. And I was in a seat, window up, camera out, and I was zooming in on it. And as I was zooming in on it to take the picture, it dropped into the water and out again. Didn't grab a fish, but it was down and up, and then shook itself off and then flew off. And I was like, oh. And then we had to wait for about 20 minutes for it to show up again, and it showed up on that island, which was really cool. But there was a lovely sticking out the ground, no more than 10 metres in front of us. And I was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for it to land on that stick, and it never did. So
we all have that like perfect kingfisher perch twig.
Yeah.
I've seen so many of them. I was like, oh, that'd be perfect for a photograph.
So yeah, but it was great to see them. I was very, very happy. Fantastic start. I called them my blue unicorns because I've been hunting to see them for years and years. Never saw one, and then suddenly, when I'm not looking for them, there they are. So so yeah.
You found your blue unicorns.
I did. But anyway, on the way to the that hide, I saw one of these. Ta-da! And this is an azure damselfly. Now you can tell which type of damselfly it is by the second segment. Aha, see, I have been learning this as well. More for you,
nice.
More that Nick can tell us from his training shortly, I am sure. But it's the second segment, the one just behind the wings, and it's the shape of the black mark. So that makes this an azure. There are quite a few different blue damselflies. If I show you if I count them out in my book, what have we got? So we have the azure, the variable, the northern, the Irish, the southern, the common blue, the blue-tailed, the scarce blue-tailed, and the white-legged. There you go.
You get that, everyone? Cool. Write that down. There will be a test.
There's quite a few. And then there's also the small red. There's the red-eyed, the small red-eyed. It's just, there's so many. For some reason, damselflies like being blue.
Pretty colour.
Yeah, it's great. So that was cool. There was loads of them around. The coot is bigger, says Pookie. Thanks, Pookie. And of course, the blue-tailed doesn't have a blue tail, just a blue spot. It's very true.
It has like one of the least blue tails of the blue damselflies.
And then the ones I posted on Discord were a first for me. Oh, okay. That's good, Pookie. That's very cool. Along with my blue damselfly, I have a dragonfly. Now, I thought originally this was a broad-body chaser, but it's not. It's a 4-spot. Again, because it's got 4 spots on the wings. So it's a 4-spot dragonfly.
Lovely. Yeah, in my training, one of the things was the dirty armpits. It's like the orange tinging just at the base of the wings. It's not an official term, but yes, dirty armpits is another entertaining ID description word.
Well, thank you, Thistle. It took ages for me to get it in a position where it was actually sat still for long enough for me to take a picture. Kid you not, I was chasing it up and down this pathway for about 20 metres. People were looking at me crazy.
The chaser has become the chase.
Yeah. It's like, stop! I want a picture! You're so nice. So yeah, but I managed to get one, which is great. Very happy. Cool.
There's
so,
a lovely picture.
Loads of great stuff at Potterick. There were willow warblers. I was watching a blue tit nest for a while. It was a nest box going in and out. It was very, very cool. Loads of blackbirds, blackcaps, song thrushes. Yeah, it's loads of great stuff. Loads of great stuff. So I'm definitely going to go back to Potterick Car.
Sounds great.
It's only an hour up the road as well. I was really surprised.
Oh.
Just off the M18 as well, which is a very busy road. If you know the road system in the UK, it's very busy, and you could hear the cars and lorries driving by.
Oh, really?
Then there's beautiful wetlands right next to it. So
nice,
cool. So we then get to Bempton. and I go for a lovely meal, and then I go to bed, fall asleep, wake up in the morning, and I walk from the Bempton village, which is where we're staying, 2 kilometres up the road to Bempton Cliffs, RSPB Nature Reserve, and I see quite a rare bird. It's my first one. Okay, used to be quite common in gardens. Does like a tree, and it's a tree sparrow.
Wow.
Now you can tell it's a tree sparrow because it doesn't have the grey cap. Tree sparrows have a beautiful chestnut head all over. This one has a lovely white feather because it's building its nest.
That's a lovely picture with the contrast of like the brown head and the white feather.
I quite like the pink in the background as well.
Very smart.
Cool. Thank you, Thistle. I do too. I think the pink is really nice. It kind of offsets the image a little bit.
Yeah, it is a nice balance. Maybe the sparrow's looking at the nice pink and appreciating it as well.
Yeah. That's why he stopped. He stopped to look at the flowers.
Oh.
Cool. But Bempton Cliffs is not known for its... we call them ringed sparrows because of the white neck ring. Ooh, that's cool.
Oh,
Didn't know that, Pookie. That is very... I like that.
I do like how different like languages and
Yeah.
cultures name birds for different, or just name animals and plants and everything for different reasons. I like it. Yeah, winged sparrow.
Are they larger than common sparrows? No, they're not, Thistle. They're basically exactly the same size. So at some point in the past, they diverged, and the house sparrow has had the grey cap appear for whatever reason, but the tree sparrow hasn't. So I don't know that. I don't know why. What really surprised me about tree sparrows is when I was back up in Scotland, I went to Loch Kinnordy, which I'll talk about more next week. And I saw tree sparrows there as well, which I was not expecting. So, but I didn't get any images of them that were any good, so they were all blurry. But hey.
Did you notice it was like you noticed it as a tree sparrow, like with like a second look kind of thing? Because they're not obvious. I feel like I'd definitely mistake a tree for a house sparrow.
Having seen tree sparrows quite a lot now, I say that I've only ever seen them at Bempton, like properly. That's where I recognised them first, and then that was last year. And then whenever I look at a sparrow now, I always go, okay, what is it? Is it a tree or is it a house? Even at my mum and dad's, because they get what they call spuggies back home, spuggies, which are house sparrows, in the back garden quite a lot. And so I was watching them at the kitchen window. But yeah, they were all house sparrows, which was cool. But yeah, I always look now to see if it is a house or a tree.
I'll take a better look now in case it's not a spuggy.
So there we go. Cool. But anyway, like I was saying, Bempton Cliffs is not known for its woodland birds. It is known for its seabird colonies. So I'm going to move on to seabird colonies. The first one being what I think are such majestic birds. They are massive. The largest birds that nest at Bempton, and they are gannets. And there were thousands of these birds there.
Wow.
Building nests. As you can see, this one's doing. It's currently got some a bit of grass in its beak, but it's heading down to pick up some more. So
What a really cool picture.
thank you. They were coming right up to where we were stood, basically, because there's a fence basically to stop you falling off the cliff. But as you step back a little bit from the edge, and then that's grassy until it hits the cliff face, and they're literally just landing on that and digging up all the grass to make their their nests. Talking about nests, I got an image of a gannet on a nest, and if you look really closely underneath it, you'll see something quite precious.
Oh my goodness.
There's
That's a very photogenic
yeah.
nest location.
There's an egg. Want some eggs in
Aw.
chat, folks? Give me some eggs in chat. So here we go. So yeah, so that was great. Just love
Mm.
watching gannets. I think they're brilliant. They're really noisy as well. Lots of kittiwakes around. I didn't take any images of kittiwakes this year.
No, I'd love to see gannets up close. I've only seen them flying past. No, like a colony of them sounds amazing to look at.
Yeah. So I didn't take any images of kittiwakes, or you might see some in other pictures, but they are not the focus. But the most famous birds at Bempton are, of course, puffins. And here is a puffin, quite a long way off. You can see a kittiwake in the background, actually, on the left-hand side, as I said.
Starring slightly in the background.
It's photobombing.
Mm.
But there's a puffin off in the distance, flying in. You want a closer look at puffins? Here you go. Here's a couple sat on the cliff. This is a pair. And just behind them, if you look really closely, you can see a dark hole.
Oh, yes.
And there is its burrow.
Aw. Birdcris, there is only one anti-pick. Lies.
That's not an Andy pick, that last one.
I think it was quite obviously a puffin, so I don't think it can count as a
You can actually see it.
proper anti-pick. It's when you have to go like, that's a puffin. Are you sure? Like,
You sure that's a puffin, Andy? It's a puffin. Yeah, so this is definitely a pair. They were using the burrow just in behind it, going in and out occasionally. I don't think they'd laid an egg or anything like that yet, because obviously they're not on it. It's a bit small and immobile, says the Solax. You probably, yeah, okay. I'm looking at this on a desktop computer, so. Yes, so there you go. So there's a better look at puffins. The next one is probably my favourite seabird. Can anyone remember what that is? We were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. I say a couple of weeks, probably last month.
Was the Fulmar?
I wasn't the Fulmar. That's the reason I went to Bempton, was to see Fulmar. Starts with an R.
Razorbill.
That's it. Here we go, little razorbill. Sat on a nest.
So cute.
Now, what's quite interesting about the razorbills is they were nesting really close to the fence line. And there was one razorbill that was chased off by a carrion crow. And then the crow, and I wish I'd got pictures of this, because they only lay one egg at a time. And the crow was trying to grab the egg. And I watched the egg get pushed off the edge and plummet down the cliff, and the crow went after it.
Did it catch it?
Probably not. I wouldn't have seen it. If it did catch it, that is some
awesome,
aerobics.
Video or something.
Now, I don't know. Now, so commonly razorbills will only have one brood a year, but I don't know if that brood is hijacked in that sense. For example, it's eaten by a crow or whatever. Will they try again?
I'd say yes this early on.
Yeah.
I think if it's within a few weeks of like the main breeding season, then they would try again. From my little knowledge.
Can you just imagine the conversation between the two razorbills, though? Whether it's the male or the female that's been sat on the nest, that doesn't matter, okay? Let's say it's the dad. The dad's been sat on the nest, okay, diligently, okay, waiting. And then a crow comes and chases it off, because the crow's a big mean thing. And he flies off, and then the egg disappears, and the male comes back, and he's like, God damn it.
My wife's going to kill me.
What's Mavis going to say? Mavis comes back.
Hi, honey. How's the egg doing?
How's little Ronnie? You know?
My treasure.
There you go. Anyway, probably my favourite picture of the entire holiday is this next one, which is again of razorbills. This is now my desktop wallpaper. Is this one here?
Oh, that's a really cool one. What a great photo.
Lisa was hanging on to me while I'm looking down the cliff taking that picture.
A lot of trust.
Yeah. There was a fence in the way as well, I must say.
The porter is like, what on earth is that man doing?
What on earth is going on there?
Sailing down the side.
But yeah,
That's
just
a gorgeous photo.
loved it. Very cool. And then, like I said, the reason I went to Bempton was to see Fillmore. They are on my bucket list for the year. Let's recap what's on my bucket list. So Waxwings, which I've already got. Fillmore, which I went to Bempton to see. Long-eared owls, which I'm hoping to see while doing the nightjar surveys, because we get them up at Budbay. Spotted flycatcher, which I haven't seen yet. I don't think I've seen it yet. There was one spotted at RSPB Loch Leven, and I went there that day that it was spotted, and I think I saw it, but I'm not going to say I did, and I didn't get a picture, so I'm not going to say I did or didn't. So yeah, spotted flycatcher, and then male hen harrier. So that's my 5 for this year. I've already got the waxwing, like I said, and now we have the Fillmore, number 2 of the year.
Nice.
It was quite interesting though, because I couldn't pick them out from all the kitty wakes. And then we were stood at a viewing point, and I was pointing out where puffins were to some people. And one of the RSPB spotters come up, and Lisa goes over and asks him, like, where's the best place to see Fillmore? And he was describing where to go. And I was listening while I was pointing out where puffins were. And then he went, oh, you want to see Fillmore? There's one just there. And it was right next to the puffins I was pointing out, but I couldn't see it.
Really?
Yeah. So it was tucked right into the edge of the cliff, sat on a nest. It was very cool. And then as soon as I saw the first one, I started seeing them everywhere. So, which was really nice. But yeah, this is probably the best image I got of a Fillmore. So, and I just love the contrast between the bird and the sea on this image. I think that's quite cool.
No, that's really lovely.
And you see the beautiful colours in its wings as well, because you would think the grey or black, but there's some lovely reddish brown in there as well, which is really nice.
Like the gradient as well.
Yeah.
Really lovely.
And when somebody pointed out that they actually fly with really stiff wings, like the wings just do not move position, even when they're turning, everything stays in the same position.
They got like an ironing board strapped to their wings.
Which is really quite cool. Which is why I suppose they can fly such far distances, because they're not using very much energy at all to fly, are they? So. But yeah, there we go. That is the first 2 days of my holiday. More to come next week, when I will be covering red squirrels, tawny owls, ospreys. What else did I see? Probably the second favourite image, my second favourite image of the holiday, which I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it was very cool.
Leaving you in suspense.
Yeah, I'll keep you all in suspense so you come back. You come and watch us instead of watching Spring Watch. There you go. Because Spring Watch could be watched on iPlayer or Catch Up or something, you know. So.
Yeah, we definitely don't have a YouTube channel to do the same.
I'm afraid not, Pookie. It's not a kestrel. I wish.
Next holiday.
But yeah, next week I promised ospreys, red squirrels, and something else very cool. Storm damage. Oh, and the largest hedge in the world. Yep. I took a picture of the. I say largest. I'll reword that. Really tallest hedge in the world.
Oh.
Tallest hedge in the world.
but I really want to look up photos, but I'm going to restrain myself because I want to see the picture. And I'm trying to think, what's the realistic tallest hedge? What counts as a hedge? Because like,
So for it to count as a hedge, it must be cut.
Oh, okay. How often?
At least once every 10 years.
Okay.
So this hedge is cut every 10 years.
Wow. They use like a helicopter at the top or something because it's so tall.
And to give you an idea, the council where it was quoted £50,000 for the privilege of it being done.
Oh my gosh.
£50,000.
Good uses.
So there you go. Anyway, moving on. That's next
like,
week, everybody.
Gosh,
that is next week. We're now moving on to what's happened in the last week for you, Nick. What has happened? What have you been seeing?
I've seen quite a lot of things that you've been seeing, which is exciting.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So I'll start also with a damselfly. I also saw an azure damselfly, which was exciting. It looks almost like the same photo.
It does, doesn't it? Like it's like I was to your right, taking a picture of exactly the same one.
I didn't see you there. It was very weird.
Were you at Potterick too?
I got off at the wrong stop on the train. It was very weird. But yes, this was at Cause Diga on Anglesey. Hundreds of damselflies. It's like every step is blue swarmflock. It was really lovely. Yeah, got a photo of this nice azure. So as Andy was saying, on segment 2 of the abdomen, it's a bit harder to see here because I'm kind of looking through the wings more than Andy's photo. But it has a kind of a U shape, almost like a very, like quite a blocky U.
Yeah.
Azure, and then common looks thinner but has little like mushroom clouds, so like mushroom common blue, a common blue damselfly, and then there was the other one which had like, I really forget all the names. There's very technical names for some of the line, like the shoulder stripes, and then on the other one, I can't remember the name right now, there's like the fangs with blood dripping into a goblet. And I can't remember the name of that one. But yes, segment 2 is the key for the blue damselflies. They look like this. So that was really nice to see. There's lots of individuals flying around, but also got to see a pair mate, which was exciting. So this was a pair of blue tail damselflies mating. So they look... It's a very weird... I say setup, that sounds wrong, but position.
Yeah.
To see. So if they look like this, they're kind of like connecting to each other in that way, then they're mating. And then you can also see damselflies if one's on the surface of the water and then one's got at the end of its tail attached just behind the head of the other, and it's like standing up very weirdly. I should have got a photo. But that's when the females ovulate, not ovulating, I've forgotten all the words. Laying its eggs in the water, and then the male's like grabbed onto the female's neck as such, guarding her. So no more males can mate with her.
I might have an image actually, because I did see them doing it. It's not a great image, but I did see them mating. Give me a second. Let's see if we can.
Is one we saw earlier.
Let's see if we can make this happen.
But yes, the male and females have their tails kind of twisted around each other in kind of a weird pretzel shape when they're mating. And they can even fly around whilst mating. So it can look very odd if you were walking around and see this shape flying past you. Oh, Thistleaxe says, I saw a northern wheater and I have an Andy picture of it.
Amazing.
Amazing.
I love the fact that they're now called Andy pics. I think it's great.
It is very entertaining.
I was even chatting to a couple at Sherwood. They were asking me, like, where's the best place to go to see certain birds. They were looking for woodlark and tree pipits and stuff. And I pointed out where the best place to go. And then they came back and we were just talking about the photographs that they got and things like that. And I said, yeah, I take pictures too. And the people I show them to call some of them Andy pics because they're absolutely terrible. And they just laughed. So there we go. D2.
We love them though.
Okay, browse. Desktop.
But yes, I imagine it's the same overlay if we've both seen lots about. So go to basically any water bodies. They can be flowing, like fast or slow, so like streams, even rivers. They can be stagnant, that can be like ponds, puddles, lakes, almost any size, as long as there's water in it for reasonably substantial amount of time. You can find them in a lot of places, so just go looking near water bodies.
Yeah, so here we go. This is, again, I believe these are azure again, but they are mating, and this is side on, so you get to see the shape that they make and where they join. So there you go there.
Oh,
yeah, Thistleaxe, Northern Wheater is just an amazing spot. And then Pookie says, best is probably the Melodious Warbler, because so rare to see. You're right there as well, Pookie. Very jealous of the stuff you've been seeing in the last week.
Very cool.
But I think they look a little bit like a love heart. Like a lopsided love heart. The males on top, females underneath.
So the male's grabbing onto the female.
Yeah.
Just so she can't fly away or another male can't come mate with her. And then the female's abdomen's twisted in a very yoga position to attach genitals together.
There we go. That's cool.
Picture.
So bluetails and azures.
I also saw four-spotted chaser, so I'll put my picture in for our joint wildlife encounters this week. But yes, I didn't chase it as much as your one, from what it sounds like. I was quite lucky. I kind of just stood still and moved a bit to get a better view. Yes, I love dragonflies. They're very kind of alien looking, especially if you see them still like moving their head and their eyes.
Yeah.
Very cool animals.
It's how quickly they move as well.
They're so a bit like a drone. I guess it's kind of the same, but kind of like completely stationary. Then it's very cool.
And apparently they can see the future. So it's kind of weird because we can as well. So if you throw a ball, so if somebody throws a ball at you, you can place your hand where it's going to be. Okay, so that's you predicting the future. And it's exactly the same with what dragonflies do, because dragonflies don't chase their prey, they intercept their prey. So it's about them predicting where that prey is going to be, and then they go to that point. So, yeah, they can see the future.
Was that Springwatch last year?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I remember them. Saw someone talking about that.
But I just find that really cool.
It's something you take for granted. It's like, oh yeah, you just move your arm out there because you know it's going to be there. That's very cool.
Lots of bog cotton in the dales as well, bobbing their heads with the wind. Ooh, bog cotton. I don't know what bog cotton is.
Is that the same as cotton grass or hare? Is it hare's tail? Because I've seen lots of cotton grass. If that is.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Commonly known as common cotton grass.
Bog cotton. I do like the phrase bog cotton. That's a nice word.
That's cool.
So fluffy. Just going like. big fan of touching and smelling nature.
Yeah.
One thing I don't recommend smelling, well, elder leaves don't smell very nice. Like very musky and not the best smell, but it's quite fun just to do it for a first time. So if you enjoy smelling things, I recommend to do it once. Oh, Pookie, juggling is moving your hands where the ball will be without looking at your hands. So that's just like professional future telling. Is that predicting future? I'd say it's predicting the future in the same way, because you're not going to where it is now. You're predicting where it will be. So
Yeah.
yeah. What else? Yeah. So also it calls Diga, which is like a large wetland as well. So it's like fields which get flooded a lot during the winter, which is great for waterfowl. And also reed beds and things like that. But I went about a month ago and saw lots of lapwings displaying and nesting. And then now I went back and saw all the juveniles there, which
Yay.
are very cute. So they do look a bit similar. They're a bit less contrasty, and like the what do you call it, tail, like hairdo is a bit shorter. So the adults have like a long tip coming up back of the head, but the juveniles have a little baby
So,
hat.
so I saw these as well. I was holding on to mine till next week, so I'll show them again next week because I saw them
Wow.
RSPB Loch Leven. No, that's cool. It's great that we're seeing so many of the same things, which is showing that these species are actually having a good comeback because lapwings have been hit really
Mm.
hard and they're now starting to have a positive, start to see a positive change in those numbers. They're still not high enough, but it's starting to be really good. And the mother was chasing them around. so the chicks were doing their thing, and the mum was like, "Come on, this way, no, this way,
Aww.
this way, this way." It was
Just
so
herding
cool.
them.
Yeah, that's a cool image as well, though.
He's trying to go there. Sorry, it's like, that's not a lapwing. It just looks a bit different. And then I realised it was a juvenile. Because it was just by itself at this point, just wandering around, foraging. Um, there are quite a few adults, and I'm not exactly sure what they're doing, but you'd have an adult fly up, calling, and then seem to like fly down onto another adult, who then kind of also flew up. These are like, they weren't quite mobbing each other, but it seemed almost like they were playing on something and then going down and coming up randomly. So if anyone knows what kind of behavior that is, um, be interesting to know.
Pookie saying Discord beep soon, predicting the future, and then one came through.
Yeah, I heard that. My gosh, you can tell the future.
See, that's what happens when you post on Discord while we're live, folks. That's it.
You could ping us live on the stream. That was Thistleaxe posting.
It
Oh my
was.
gosh, we can predict when Thistleaxe will post.
She was showing pictures. She's showing pictures of lapwings. That's what she's put on.
Oh,
So we will
lovely.
check
Thank
them
you.
out later.
Hmm.
Because lapwings are awesome.
They are such a great sound.
Yeah.
And bird and just everything about them.
Ooh-wee,
Lovely.
ooh-wee,
Wee
ooh-wee, ooh-wee.
Also at Cortiga, some lovely mallards. Very common birds, but just still lovely to watch and appreciate. Just lovely pattern, especially in the females. And it's just like a very, it's a nice pattern because it's like very fine details, and then as it goes down the neck and goes onto the body, it kind of like grows
Yeah.
a pattern.
And the lovely purple fleck in the wings as well that they have.
Mm. Yeah, I remember the first time I seen it, like, never seen that before. It's
Yeah.
really lovely.
And then obviously the males
Also,
have very contrasting points, like the white grey and then the beautiful green head. So
lovely. Also saw some shovelers, and I hadn't seen them in flight before, but they have really lovely like green bars along like the trailing edge of their wings, but just very vibrant birds.
mm.
Like even more in flight, just more patterns and colours. that you don't see. It's very lovely. Also, for my last at Korsdiga, had some lovely swifts, and I just love the sound of screaming swifts. Something very comforting about them. It sounds a lot of fun what they're up to. So you're like wee, wee, flying around, chasing each other.
Bunch of kids
Very
playing
cool.
games, pretending to be
Yeah.
airplanes.
Meow.
We all used to do it.
Don't deny it. But yes, lovely birds. Haven't seen as many as I'd like, sadly, but seeing some is still good.
And to get a picture of one flying through the air is no mean feat.
Yes, I have not shown you the 500 other pictures of a blurry swift or one that's just out of frame.
I 100% agree with Peaky's comment. Really good pic. They are impossible to photograph. Yes, Pookie, they are.
Yes, they are. It'd be quite funny to have, I don't know, like if there was someone with me, just videoing me kind of like,
Yeah.
just going completely crazy with it. They are very fun to photograph though, just because they are so crazy, and you appreciate how agile they are. In could be a somewhat annoying way, it's like please stay still. But they're so agile. It's really cool.
I've been trying to photograph swallows in fright for 2 years now, and I'm still failing. So one day it'll
Tip is
happen.
for windy day. That's what I had, which is how I got this photo. I'm not sure why, because it's like a very open floodplain, so I'm not sure why it was just where I was. But it seems there are quite a few swallows and the swifts here, kind of like flying around, and then they'd almost like hit this bank of air coming and kind of like slow down, almost hover around position. So I think windier days are better.
Okay, that's good to know.
From my limited experience, I'm sure it depends on if it's like a stable wind, if there's gusts and all that stuff. But yes, lovely birds. Good from beetly things. Had a door beetle, which was nice to see. Do love beetles. They're very cool creatures. So I think this is a type of door beetle, and I think it is, oh gosh, Anoplotroops stercorossus, if that's even how you pronounce it. I'll put it in the chat so anyone can pronounce it better than I could. I couldn't find a common name. There probably is one. But very cool. I do love beetles. You can find them quite easily in the right place. But they look very cool. They just don't look very UK like.
Sorry, I'm just reading. Piggy says some people say you can predict the weather by watching them. To which Brother Chris replies, "You can. If you get wet whilst watching them, it's probably raining."
Thank you
Cheeky.
for those words of wisdom, Brother Chris. It's like those pictures of like the weather forecasting stone. It's like if the stone is wet, it is raining. If it is at an angle, it is windy, and if it's gone, there's a hurricane or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, lovely door beetle. Also saw some cool spiders. This was kind of in an upland area, and we went through this gate, pedestrian gate, and then looking back on like the border between the fence post and the gate post, there's what I imagine is a recently hatched like nest site. I don't know what you call them for spiders. So it was just, I imagine, maybe around 100, like 100, 200 little baby spiders, which is very cool. And I tried to ID them, and I think they're European garden spiders. But I'm not good with my spiders.
So I'm trying to figure out why. I did upload this one. It even says I uploaded it, but I'm now having to add it to the stream.
Oh, nobody else is scared of spiders, maybe. Oh yes, if you don't like spiders, they are very tiny in the frame, but there will be tiny spiders. As a heads up, I should have given that earlier. Yes, I've seen a caterpillar, like party, as I call them. So like large webs, with like dozens or hundreds of them on. But I hadn't seen a spider one before, which is really cool. Yeah, so this picture is on a gate post next to a fence post, kind of like on the side of a big hill, as such. So quite open, but they're covering such. So you can the scale. The picture's probably about maybe just under 10 centimeters across. But it was loads, which was very cool to see.
So these adults, or are they?
I think this is a recently hatched
Right, yeah,
like
that makes
collection of
sense.
eggs. It's like the nest, if you can call it that. I couldn't see an adult nearby. I did quite try to have a look, but couldn't see any sign. So I don't know how. I don't really know my spiders at all. I'm not sure if it's adult lays eggs, protects it, and then just wanders off and lets the young hatch and wander and fend for themselves immediately. I don't know.
Because Alexa said, imagine trying to open the gate from the other side. If you don't like spiders, ah!
They were very tiny and they were away from the opening side, but yes,
Yeah.
if you aren't good with spiders, it could be a bit scary.
And Pookie's continued the prediction of the weather within Swift. It's something about how high they fly. It indicates how high the bugs are flying, and that should tell you things about the air pressure or something. So, which is quite cool actually. When you think about it, it does sound sensible.
Yeah, because they'd be where the insects are, and then the insects would
and the lower they are to
be
the
at
ground,
specific heights depending on
yeah,
atmospheric conditions. Very cool, actually. Thank you, Pookie.
because the pressure drops when when bad weather's coming in.
Yeah, because that's low pressure
Yeah.
systems. And I think it was a low pressure system coming in. Because they were reasonably low, like I don't know, most 30. Actually, no, they were quite high at some points. But kind of like low because you can actually see them instead of. Because they can be like kilometers high or something ridiculous, can't they?
Oh, the swifts are silly.
Crazy birds.
Was it takes them like from fledging? It's 2 years until they return because they're for sexual maturity. So for 2 years they're on the wing.
Very cool.
They hunt, they eat, they sleep, and they mate on the wing. That's what Chris Packham said last night, anyway, on Spring Watch. So
I'm trying to remember how high they go because I think the swifts sleep by going really high up. I think it's like kilometers or so, and then finding a stable air mass to kind of glide upon. But I need to fact check that. But they are just insanely cool birds in general.
how long do swifts live? Let's have a quick look. Survival and longevity. Maximum age from ringing this is on the BTO website, 17 years, 11 months and 5 days.
Wow.
That's the oldest record by the BTO. That was set in 1999. The average lifespan is 9 years, with breeding typically at 4 years.
Okay. You're spending half your life, possibly, at the lower end, just not even touching the ground.
Well, more than that, because they only touch the ground when they nest. Yeah. That's it. The rest of their life is spent on the wing.
Birdicris original Mile High Club.
Yeah.
What else seen? My moth of the week. I hadn't seen two. Well, I have seen a few, but the ones I've already seen and shown on the stream, so I hadn't had any new ones. But there was one new one, and it wasn't quite a shop moth. It was on the office, so it's still like a urban buildingy moth. So I guess street moth, I call it, instead of a shop moth. Street moth was this really lovely small dusty wave, which it's a very pretty one. So like most of the other waves are very like light and very pale, and have like a few little darker patterns on them. This little small dusty wave moth.
It's like it's missing its head.
It is very like like
Yeah,
squished.
it's like
His
no
antennas go right
no
to the side.
antennae or anything.
They're like going straight out to the sides under the wings.
Ooh, that's cool.
If you could just about see them.
Oh yeah, you
Um,
can just there. I see them.
so they're not kind of like fully tucked back, but they're coming out to the
Yeah.
side. But yes, Pookie City Moth.
There's a really interesting thing on last night's Spring Watch about moths and about why they're attracted to light.
I stopped just before that
You
section.
need to watch it. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. If you haven't watched it, folks, if you don't know, we'll talk about it more next week during our moth off, I'm sure. But
Yes.
I think it's definitely worthwhile. Chris and Michaela explaining it to you because they'll do it far better than me. So
Yeah, I think I had read like the article and the paper when it came out, or the paper with the article. But yes, go and watch Chris and Michaela explain it much better than we could. And I'll finish my wildlife encounters with some lovely blue tits. So this is on my commute. There is a really nice wall, kind of in a reasonably wild place you can have for cities and things, like a little woodland with a footpath and a reasonably old wall. So most of it's intact, then you'll be like nooks and crannies where the mortar's just kind of falling out, or there's a loose brick or something. And I think there's about 4 blue tit nests just dotted along over about 20 meters or so. You walk past and then you hear a bit from the birds coming because they think you're the parent. You're like, what on earth was that? And you can look through. They're very cute.
and I think very cute.
Two of the nests I think have fledged by now, and I do have a photo of the chicks because I managed to get a picture whilst they were very close to the front, and they look so grumpy. It's adorable. They just look like, why have you not got any food for us? I don't want to see if you haven't got a caterpillar for me. Get out of here. Yes, it does look a bit like someone's rang the doorbell and they're checking if it's like the takeaway they've ordered, and just like peeking around, just like, where's the food? But yes, some of them are fledging now, some of them are almost fledging. I did try and get some videos, but I need to actually edit them and put them together. But it's just really lovely being able to sit really close, actually, within like a few meters, and just watch the parents coming and going, feeding. They're coming almost every other minute at some points, which is a good sign, just showing there's lots of caterpillars around. But it's just must be exhausting work for the parents. But very cool, very nice to, very relaxing to watch. And just observe and just observe nature. It's very relaxing. But that has been my encounters of the week.
That's cool. That's great. Yeah. Lots of wildlife out there. Very busy at the moment.
Yes. Lots going on. Oh, pieces. I see a lot of tit family groups moving from tree to tree. Aw. Cute.
There's something quite nice about blue tit fledglings. Because they don't have the colours. They're quite dull. And you see them for the first time, you're like, what on earth are they? And then in comes a parent to feed one of them. And you're like, oh, it's a blue tit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Any plans for next week?
Ooh. I'll try. If the weather's good, I need to do a few bird surveys in places. If you plan. I think just regular. Nothing different. Just, again, see what wildlife unexpectedly pops up. But yeah, I don't think I've got anything planned. There's probably something big I have completely forgotten.
Yeah, that's cool. Brilliant. Look at that. Some fantastic stuff over the last week or so. Cannot complain.
Hmm. Shall we move on to our species highlights?
Ooh. Shall we call it species highlights, or shall we name it the creature feature?
Creature feature.
Creature
Which
feature.
creature are you featuring, Andy?
Oh, so I also saw something pretty cool while I was at Bempton. So on the way out, we're walking back, and just as you're about to leave the car park, on the left-hand side, there is a viewing point, and it says Owl Viewpoint, and there's a couple people up there, and I was like, all right then, okay, I'm going to go and have a little look, see what's going on. And I get up there, and I'm like, I know there's a barn owl around here. And I don't know why it's doing this. Give me a second.
I do have barn owls.
It's
Owls just in general are very cool.
and yeah, there was a barn owl that came out to fly around and hunt, and I actually watched it catch something quite large and dark, and take it back. Although the pictures I got of that scene weren't too good. But here we go. Here's a lovely barn owl. So this is what I was going to do my creature feature on this week, because I thought it was cool.
Exciting.
So the barn owl has a distinctly heart-shaped face, grey buff wings and pure white underparts. It is most often seen when hunting in silent flight low over vegetation, but it may also be seen perched on fence posts. Barn owl breeding success can fluctuate significantly in response to prey abundance. In good small mammal years, large broods of 6 or more chicks can be raised, but when small mammal populations are low, just 1 or 2 chicks may be reared. British and Irish barn owls are sedentary throughout the year, with movements largely limited to the chick dispersal period. Sadly, collision with road or rail traffic is a frequently recorded cause of death among recoveries of ringed birds. The species is widespread across Britain and Ireland, but absent from the far north and west of Scotland, upland areas and urban centres. Going a bit further afield, it can be found almost everywhere in the world except polar and desert regions, but prefers marine and intertidal, farmland, wetland and grassland habitats. It's one of 3 raptor species that can be found on every continent in the UK except for Antarctica.
Wow. That's cool.
The other 2 are osprey and peregrine. So there you go. In the UK, they are a green-listed bird and have an approximate population size of 4,000 pairs. That's as of 2016. They were first recorded in medieval times. Their Gaelic name is Comhachadban, meaning white owl. In Dutch, I apologise now, Pookie, it's Kerkul. Kerkul. They have a wingspan of 80 to 95 centimetres and can weigh in at 250 to 350 grams. They will lay their first clutch between late March and early July, sometimes having 2 broods. The clutch size is 4 to 6 eggs, with an incubation period of 32 days, and fledgling from 52 to 61 days. So it's an incubation period of a month.
Wow.
And then 2 months until fledging.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. And when you think if there's a possibility of them having 2 broods.
Wow.
The average lifespan is 4 years, but the oldest recorded from ringing was 15 years, 3 months and 21 days.
And Pookie says church owl.
Church owl. I can understand why it's called a church owl.
Translation.
I'm assuming it'll nest. It'll nest in similar places everywhere. We call it a barn owl because it's known for nesting in barns here in the UK. So
yeah, churches are holy barns. So.
Yeah. Big open spaces, open windows for them to get in and out, or doorways, stuff like that. Church towers.
About to say like bell towers, church
towers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Could be good. Very cool, thank you.
It's quite alright. It was great to watch it. was watching it for about 20 minutes.
I
Like I
don't
say,
know.
it came out of its nest box, started flying. It flew around for about 5 minutes. It caught something, came back up again, carried it off. I think it was a rat. It was quite large. And then back to its nest box, popped in. 30 seconds later, popped out again, which tells me that the other adult is inside the nest. Or the chicks are so big that it can down a rat in one. And then it came out and carried on again. So, at which point it got a little bit closer to us so I could get some better pictures, which you can see here.
Oh, lovely. I've seen, I think once, as far as I remember, like barn owls hunting, and it's just amazing just the way they fly and they're just looking down, and then you can just tell that instantly you've seen something because just
Yeah.
dive down.
It's the
It's very
hovering
cool
as
to watch.
well. Like, in the UK, we turn around and say that the only bird that can hover, like raptor that can hover, is the kestrel. But barn owls do it too. They're not as precise as a kestrel is,
Yeah.
but they can still hover on the spot, making sure they've got it just right. They're hearing exactly where that rodent or small bird or whatever is, and then down they go and they catch it. And this is the third one I've seen. Yeah, Pookie, you're right. Buzzards do so as well.
I think I've seen quite a few. I think I've seen like peregrines and sparrowhawks and things, and ospreys, as Ben
Ospreys, yeah.
Chris, like just roughly hovering, but there's none as you said, it's precise. Like there's completely stationary head of the kestrel. Very cool.
Yeah, amazing. Loved to watch it. Like I say, this is the third one I've seen. Rough-legged buzzards. God, let's think what else could do it.
Imagine other owls would do it, so like tawnies and
I'm pretty sure hen harriers can as well. But maybe they're using the wing. Kingfishers. Most small birds can hover in one spot for a few seconds.
Yeah. Very interesting.
All cool. Right, what's your one?
My one was a very funky fungus that I came across on a walk this week called the common stinkhorn. So this one is strap yourselves in, folks, for a interesting folklore and backstory and descriptions of this one, as you can tell from the pictures. So this is a common stinkhorn, which has the scientific name Phallus imputicus. So stinkhorns emerge from June to October. So I think as Pookie right at the start saying could be early for stinkhorns. So I think it's like right at the beginning of its fruiting season. It has been very damp recently, so I'm not sure if that would help. Like make the fruiting season a bit earlier. I hadn't seen any other times a year. This was late May or so. So stinkhorns can emerge from June to October and can grow up to 25 centimeters tall and resembles a phallus when fully emerged from the egg-like structure which contains the immature fruiting body. Once the fruiting body emerges, the young cap oozes a spore-bearing sticky gel called gleba. I think it's gleba, 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 which attracts the flies, as you can see in the picture, and other insects it relies on to distribute its spores. It smells like rotting flesh. It really does. It does not smell good. I had to smell it because I'm curious about sniffing things in nature, and it does smell like rotten flesh. So the spores are yellow and held in a slimy gleba which coats the fungus cap, and the gleba is distributed by flies that are attracted to it. And a thick white polystyrene-like stem of about 2 to 4 centimeters in diameter emerges from the egg when it erupts. There are two other stinkhorns that can be confused with, called the June stinkhorn, or Phallus hadriani, and the dog stinkhorn, or Mutinus caninus. The former tends to be found in sand dunes, and its vulva is violet coloured, whereas the latter's cap is orange beneath the gleba. So this is a common stinkhorn, but you can also get dune and dog stinkhorns in the UK. The common stinkhorn is very common in the UK and Ireland and most of mainland Europe. It grows in all types of woodland, particularly coniferous and in gardens. More often smelled than seen, its aroma can be detected far and wide and can be mistaken for dead animals or bad drains. Though the fungus attracts blowflies and other insects with its smell of rotting meat, the flies don't actually lay their eggs on it, because instead of tasting the flesh, the gleba liquefies under a fly's proboscis to provide a sugary drink on which the fly gorges. The drink contains spores, which pass undigested through the fly, while the gel, also containing spores, sticks to its legs. The spores then end up on the dung or carrion which the fly visits after the stinkhorn. And stinkhorn usually involved in nutrient cycling in the soil, which is cool. Here's some interesting facts and tidbits about it. So as feces and occasional dead badger are to be found in and around badger setts, blowflies are more likely to land there and deposit the spores, which is why stinkhorns are particularly prevalent around badger setts. Fruiting bodies are commonly clustered around 30 metres from the entrances. The sets typically harbour a regularly available supply of badger cadavers. The mortality rate of cubs is high, and death is more likely to occur within the set. The fruiting of large numbers of stinkhorns attracts a high population of blowflies, ensuring the rapid elimination of badger carcasses, removing a potential source of disease to the badger colony. The laxative effect of the gleba reduces the distance from the fruiting body to where the spores are deposited, ensuring the continued production of high densities of stinkhorns.
Now
So it's really cool.
It's very cool to see 3 different species working in conjunction with each other.
So I really want to go and find a badger set now and just see if there are any stinkhorns around. So keep that in mind if you do find one in the woods or something. So,
I know where 2 are.
Oh.
Not that I've ever seen a badger live in the out in the wild, but I know where 2 badger sets are. I might have to go and scour those areas for stinkhorn.
Yeah, so June to October, so over the next 5 months or so. Tiny bit more. So its scientific name phallus relates to its phallic appearance, while impudicus is Latin for immodest or shameless. So stinkhorn quite literally means shameless phallus. Hooray! In 1597, herbalist John Gerard referred to the stinkhorn as the prike mushroom, while folk names for the fungus include dead man's cock. Charles Darwin's granddaughter, Gwen Riverat, claimed in her 1952 memoir, Period Piece, that in order to protect the morals of the maids, her Aunt Hetty, Darwin's daughter, collected stinkhorns from the woods and burnt them in secret. It's very funny. Stinkhorn is edible. Hooray!
Really?
But only at the egg stage when the smell is less strong. The inner layer can be cut out with a knife and eaten raw. It is crisp and crunchy with a radish-like taste. So if you find these like, I'm really hungry, then
doesn't smell too bad.
Just gonna. So yes, do be sure with foraging, especially mushrooms. So you do not take my word or anything like that for it. But stinkhorns are edible, which is funny in a way. And then in parts of France and Germany, young stinkhorns are eaten fresh, pickled, and also in sausages. And the powdered fungus is said to be used as an aphrodisiac for cattle. So there you go. And then in Welsh, I shall put in the chat. I think it's Pidyn Drwllyd, I think. Pidyn Drwllyd, which literally translates to Stinky Willy. So. No one's eating their dinner or anything. Or if they are, I do
Stinks wham.
apologize. Thanks, man.
Yeah, people say stinks wham, stinks wham, stinks wham,
Thanks, man. That's a fun
stinks wham.
word.
They are
So there we
very
go.
cool things to find, I have to say.
They're very cool and have a very entertaining backstory.
Definitely.
I think there's one bit which I didn't include, but I think there was tales, I think like 19th century, where like men with all their estates and things would go and find them and cut off all the phallus-shaped mushrooms, not to kind of scare the young ladies and things like that. So it's very funny backstories. So yes, you can go see the phallus is in the woods, and they have cool backstories and very cool life cycles. So you're welcome, everyone.
That's awesome, though. That's very cool.
It's very cool.
What a great find as well, so early in their season.
It
It's not even June, is it?
stood out.
It's May. So,
No.
but it has been so wet.
Yeah, I imagine that is what caused them to come up. So was it 3 or 4 in 5-10 meter area. So they're probably more just they're hidden in the undergrowth that just came up in a recently cut area. So that's how I saw it. Very cool.
Cool. Right. What's next? I think it's news time, isn't it?
The news.
Is it news time?
Who wants to go first?
Oh,
Should I go first?
You want me to go first?
I got a short one, so maybe I could go first quickly.
Okay, that's cool.
I like your one. So we could talk about that in a bit more.
I'm quite excited about my one, I've got to say.
I like your one a lot as well. So my one's a bit of a short one, from the BBC, saying Southwest Pine Marten projects gets more funding. Conservation group says that they are thrilled to have been given a grant of £1.2 million to help them reintroduce pine martens to woodland in the southwest of England.
Win!
Organisations involved in the Two Moors Pine Marten project have received money from the National Lottery Heritage Fund. Around 40 of these animals will be released over the next 2 years at selected locations on Exmoor and Dartmoor. The rare creatures were once common across the UK until hunting and habitat loss drove them to the brink of extinction in England and Wales. The cat-sized predators, a relative of stoats and otters, prefer well-wooded areas and largely feed on small rodents, birds, insects and fruit. The project is being led by the charity Devon Wildlife Trust, which is working with organisations such as Exmoor National Park Authority and Somerset Wildlife Trust. Devon Wildlife Trust Conservation Manager Ed Parr-Ferris said, "We are thrilled to have received this support." He added, "The pine marten's role within a woodland ecosystem is to create balance. They control the more abundant species and create opportunities for our rarer species to thrive. The new pine martens are being sourced under licence from existing healthy populations in Scotland." The charity says the animals' return will signify the start of an ambitious community engagement project. People will be given the chance to become nature spotters, monitoring pine marten behaviour and other woodland wildlife. Stuart MacLeod from the National Lottery Heritage Fund said, "We are delighted to be supporting a project which will not only see the reintroduction of pine martens, but inspire local communities to care for their woodlands." The timing of the release of the pine martens has not yet been revealed. So great news.
That's fantastic.
So sometime in the next 2 years, was it 40? Yeah, 40 pine martens released in Exmoor and Dartmoor. So very exciting.
I expect it'll be 20 males, 20 females.
Now, I'd love to be able to go to Exmoor and Dartmoor and
Oh.
know you might be able to see pine martens. It'd be really cool.
So I was on location last week in a pine marten, and pine martens had been spotted there not that long before, but they're mainly nocturnal. They do prefer being around at night, and the chances of seeing them are actually pretty slim because they're very elusive. But the thing that excites me most about this is they will control grey squirrel populations massively.
No, it would be really exciting to see how their populations change, the grey squirrels, and how quickly they will change. It is very, very interesting, and hopeful news, which is nice.
You're right there, Pookie. They don't look at things and go, "Ah, that's rare. I'm going to leave that alone." But what they do is, so the things that are part of their ecosystem, and I'll use red squirrels as a fantastic example of this, have an innate understanding of how to minimize predation from a pine marten. Whereas things like grey squirrels do not. So it has been observed that wherever pine martens go, red squirrels follow. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen if you literally just pick a bunch of pine martens from Scotland and put them in the south of England, because there's a massive gap between that for the red squirrels to go down. But in other areas in Scotland where there are pine martens and we've seen them move south, and I can take my local patch, Crombie. From when I was a kid, red squirrels were never seen there at all. Yet now there's red squirrels. I saw two more. No, it was one, sorry. I saw one last week at Crombie again. So that's the third one I've seen there now. And that tells me there's probably pine martens around too, because there's no grey squirrels at all. Now, in Scotland, if you see a grey squirrel, you've got to tell people.
Yeah.
But grey squirrels just aren't... They see a predator, they know it's a predator, but they're just not aware of how it hunts. And as Birder Chris has said, reds are smaller and lighter, more agile, and outrun martens easier. So...
Yeah.
They also probably know the telltale signs of a marten being around. So, yeah, I think that's fantastic news. And I really look forward to hearing more about that in the future, hopefully. As long as they release things. As long as they release information.
I'm sure we'll definitely get headlines of first pine martens released in, or first pine martens in Exmoor/Dartmoor in so many years. So it'd be nice to keep up with it, hopefully.
Yeah. Cool. Right, on to mine then. Which you got a sneak peek at there because I forgot to change the scene. Let's move back again. Here we go. You've seen the empty black woodpecker nest. Aww. But the fledged, Pookie, that's a great sign. Or is it other black woodpecker nests that have been predated? And again, unfortunately, that's just the way nature works.
Sad.
It is quite sad. Anyway, my news story is quite exciting.
I was really excited when you sent this to the group. I was like,
so again from the BBC, this is extinct mountain jewel plant returned to the wild in a secret location. A plant that went extinct in the wild has been reintroduced to the UK mainland. We can't tell you the exact location, it's a secret to keep it safe. It's just one small plant, but with 1 in 6 species in the UK endangered, you've got to start somewhere. The BBC were there the moment pioneering horticulturist Robbie Blackhall Miles returned it to its native soil. So this is written in first person, and I'm just going to read it as it is. It's not me that's written this. This person is Georgina Rannard. Okay? So, I first met Robbie at the nursery for threatened plants tucked away in a quiet part of North Wales. What he keeps there is so valuable we can't even get it insured. Or he can't even get it insured. He asked me to be careful how much we reveal. There's still a lucrative market for rare and special plants, often picked illegally, often fetching thousands of pounds. There's only 30 of those trees left in the world, he says, pointing at a pot. Around us are trays of seedlings, bags of soil on the floor, plants growing and flowering, thermometers hanging from the roof to check the plants don't get too hot, too cold, or too dry. Robbie is tall and athletic. He talks excitedly. I don't know why that bit's in. When I started researching this story, Robbie's name kept popping up in the records of botanical societies. There are few people in Britain who know as much about plants. He got into botany after wanting to save animals as a child and a brief spell as a model. Now he's working for Plant Life, a conservation charity. If you think about British biodiversity like a jigsaw puzzle, all the pieces are really important, but some are missing, he says. His goal, working with the National Trust and Natural Resource Wales, is to restore some of that biodiversity by reintroducing the extinct rosy saxifrage, a plant he calls a mountain jewel, to Ururi, or Snowdonia, as it's more known for in England and Scotland. I do like the name Ururi, though. I think it's very cool.
It's very cool.
The last time the rosy saxifrage was seen in the wild in the UK was in 1962, somewhere in the Cwm Idwal Nature Reserve in Ururi. I wanted to see the place, so Robbie and National Trust Ranger Rhys Weldon Roberts took me and colleagues to Cwm Idwal. We hiked a snaking path around the lake to a place called Twildu, or ominously in English, Devil's Kitchen. Robbie stopped every few steps to point out rare plants that have managed to survive. By chance, I had walked here before, struggling to climb up a crevice between the mountains. I'd been totally oblivious to the precious species living under the boulders. The rosy saxifrage is listed as extinct, but Robbie, a skilled climber, still double-checked. I've been up there on ropes, looking for it for 6 summers, just in case we were wrong, he says, pointing up at a sheer cliff face. The rosy saxifrage is about as native as you can get in the UK, Robbie says, perched on a rock looking serenely out on this dramatic landscape. It is part of a family of mountain plants that thrived when northern Britain was frozen over during the Ice Age. When the glaciers melted, the saxifrages stayed, thriving in the mountain environment. But their delicate appearance and beautiful flowers eventually made them a magnet for plant collectors, particularly Victorians who picked them for private collections. Then habitat loss and poorly managed grazing in Ururi were the final death knell for the plant. Numbers fell dramatically until it was gone from the UK mainland. The next part of the story has the quality of folklore. In 1962, a teacher and conservationist called Dick Roberts was in Cwm Idwal on a school trip. He picked up a piece of a plant that had washed down a path and put it in his pocket. Unsure of what it was, he took it home and grew it in his garden. All the rosy saxifrage now in the UK mainland goes back to that tiny plant. It saved the plant for future generations. About a decade ago, Robbie was given a cutting to care for. That is so lucky.
I love that story.
So lucky.
I'd be so scared if I picture like this is the last evidence of this plant ever. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I just put it in my pocket. Yeah.
I feel quite humbled to be working with part of Dick Roberts' legacy, he says. Such a beautiful flower as well. Look at it.
It is gorgeous.
Absolutely stunning. You can see why plant collectors were collecting it for their gardens. It's very unusual to be able to reintroduce a species with the genetic descendant of the native species. Most of the time, related species are used. For example, the European beaver, which was used to bring back beavers to the UK. But Robbie says, holding it in his hands, this is from cuttings of that original Welsh material. In the decade since Dick Roberts was in Ururi, nature in the UK has transformed dramatically. 1 in 6 species are threatened with extinction. We have lost 19% of monitored species in the last 30 to 40 years, turning the UK into one of the most nature-depleted countries on Earth. I invited Julia Jones, a professor of conservation at Bangor University, to Cwm Idwal to ask her how much difference bringing back this one small plant can make. The truth is that alone it won't transform UK nature. Conservation is hugely complicated and needs lots of different work, including protecting habitats from climate change, pollution and intensive land use. But Professor Jones says that this reintroduction acts as a flagship and a reminder of just how much we have lost. High-profile plant reintroductions are rare. Most work goes into bringing back animals. The most famous in the UK is probably the beaver or the white-tailed eagle. You've also got red kite, osprey. There's loads. You can carry on with birds, especially. Charismatic species that generally get people more excited than plants. Some scientists talk about plant blindness, the idea that people don't see plants around them as important living things. Instead, they're more like wallpaper in our natural environment, despite everything they do for our ecosystems and their role in protecting and producing medicine. I shan't carry on.
It is a great article, though.
It's phenomenal. I'll put the link in
really
chat,
recommend.
folks, for you to read it. It is.
It's very cool, and I feel like, for me, because I'm in this area, I've been to Comedwell, like I've been to where those photos are, like right up Devil's Kitchen, and that is like the one valley in the entirety of like 2, 3 mountain ranges where there are wildflowers. It's really sad. You see absolutely nothing. It is just heavily sheep grazed down to like nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. So it's really lovely to see a plant being reintroduced. So a hopeful future.
Yeah, I found this information here on it as well because I wanted to do a little bit more digging. The Irish saxifrage was once found in Wales too. It is now found in Wales again. Well, we think it's Wales. They haven't said where. But its upright buds are bright. White flowers distinguish it clearly from other mossy saxifrages found in the British Isles. Calcium-rich rock ledges and crevices is where it's found. Best time to see. You can see the species flowering in cultivation at the National Botanic Garden of Wales during May and June. And that's what it looks like. There you go there.
That's lovely. That's great, because I went up about 2 months ago now to see the purple saxifrage. So same family, just gorgeous plants, but in that same valley of Comedwell. That's like one of the best places and only places to see them now. But lovely flowers.
Yeah, very, very cool. So there we go. So while
I
you're
really love that story.
while you're out in the mountains now, Nick, you got to start looking for rosy saxifrage.
I know. I really want to go and find it. Also, just like don't want. I just want it to be 100% not interfered with by humans or anyone. I just want it to be left alone. I really want to see it.
I'm pretty sure it's probably in a real, when they say secret location, it's probably also like in a very hard to reach spot.
Yeah, with what Thistlex is saying, maybe this is why athletic was mentioned.
Yeah.
Talking about like ropes and things like that. So hopefully it's just on the cliffside, 50 meters up.
But again, another positive story about a reintroduction, and hopefully it'll spread and it'll be seen a lot more often in the future. Like 10 years time, you'll just be walking down a path and there it is at the side. You know, that'd be so cool. You go, what's that? It can't be.
The rosy saxifrage.
No, is that rosy saxifrage?
On episode 522. Like, back in episode 10.
That'd be cool though. If we got to episode 500, that'd be amazing.
That'd be very cool. Come back in 10 years.
Cool. Well, I think that's it. We've covered everything.
We did it.
Wow. First day back. Well, first stream back after a week off. It's cool. So I've now got to go away and actually build the moth trap. So
so you're not empty-handed next week.
So I'm not empty-handed next week. I probably still will be empty-handed. So
you never know.
It's been a bit it's a bit windy at the moment, to be fair. So
yeah, isn't a good week for mothing, sadly.
Hopefully the weekend will be better. The weekend's supposed to pick up weather-wise. So
I think so.
I was off today and I was doing lots of gardening today. I had to free my one of my apple trees from overgrown. So it's a small plant. It's only about 2 feet, 2.5 feet tall from the ground. And it was just completely surrounded by stuff. It's in the corner of the little wildlife meadow I'm cultivating at the moment. And there's just so many plants that are literally coming up to the same height as it. And then there's hedge bindweed that's just basically enclosed
Oh,
it.
really?
And I've gone, okay, I better go and deal with that. So I was in there today trying to cut all this out and give it a bit of space so it can get some light. And then I realised it's got fruit on it, which is fantastic news. So it shows that it's healthy. It just needs a bit of sunlight and a bit of air. So yeah, we'll see how that gets on. And then doing a lot of weeding in the growing area. But I'm hoping to get out there soon with a camera for you all to see.
That'd be really cool.
And do a stream from the garden, which would be quite funky because it's still quite light out there at the moment. I'm pretty sure I could.
Yeah, longest stay is only less than a month away now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could be out there, which would be fantastic. Getting the excuses in early, him. And then tomorrow, I am doing my very first volunteering day at Sherwood Forest.
Yay!
So I am I'm out there with one of the wardens, doing odd jobs is what he's told me we're going to be doing tomorrow. Odd jobs. So no idea what odd jobs are.
Just following along.
Basically gardening in a forest. We'll see what happens.
Big gardening.
Yeah. Then I'm off on Friday again as well, and then we're supposed to be up doing a nightjar survey. So hopefully I can get the box built either tomorrow or on Friday, so I can use it over the weekend and see what we get.
Yeah. That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
Best of luck. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. It will be cool. What about you? What have you got planned for the next week?
I don't know. I haven't got any plans for the weekend. Maybe a bird survey if the weather holds up. But yeah, I think just like general volunteering parties and I think odd jobs. I think, yeah. But I'm excited to see what comes up, especially now. There's so much is happening.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
So next week I can definitely promise ospreys, red squirrels, and something else that I know
And
I'm not
moths.
sharing. And hopefully moths. More odd jobs.
Definitely moths.
The guy in the hat gets about a bit. He does Bird Chris. Odd job does get around quite a bit. That bowler hat was deadly. I can't remember which movie, 007 film that was in. It was a Roger Moore one, wasn't it? Was it Roger Moore?
I know of it, but I don't know it well enough.
Goldfinger. So it's definitely... So is that... Now, Goldfinger's Sean Connery. I'm pretty sure.
Sean Connery.
Because Man with the Golden Gun was Roger Moore.
Oh, yeah,
Sean Connery. Thank you, Bird Chris, for confirming.
So much knowledge.
Yes. There we go. Cool. Right. Shall we call it there then?
Sounds good.
Head on off. Please, folks, do get your moth images into us in Discord. If I can remember how to
and the man with golden gun, the sidekick was Knick Knack.
Knick Knack. Brilliant. Shall we raid somebody tonight?
Oh, let's go for it.
Who's about, folks? Who should we go and raid?
There's Dash Ducks around, California Burbs. I can't remember who we did last time. Someone recommended. Oh, Hoot House live stream, that's still there. Who did we do last time?
Is I Paint Burbs live, Bird Chris? Because if they are, we should do I Paint Burbs.
Oh, it says they're live.
Sweet.
They're live.
She
Thanks,
is.
Stardew Valley.
Okay, so how do we do a raid again?
Raid.
I can hit raid's channel here.
I Paint Burbs. Just as Bird Chris typed it, like all lowercase one word.
Is it / raid space?
I Paint Burbs, all one word.
Okay, here we go. Pressing it.
There we go.
The raid has been created. There we go. Thank you very much, folks. We'll see you all soon.
Have a lovely week.
Yes, I'm going to hit the raid now button. But yeah, please get your moths into the Discord channel. And we will see you all next week with lots of moths and other cool things. See you then, folks.
Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Bye.